We're now in the final chapter of Cop15. The whole world is watching us. And I know we can make the necessary decisions, however difficult they may be, in order to halt biodiversity loss and turn the tide worldwide.
And we can't underestimate the value of dialogue and creating these spaces for cross-sectoral collaboration. They are hugely valuable. And we're bringing you a little piece of that magic here today on this panel by having a really great, mostly Indigenous centered, because that's what we do, right? We want to hear first and foremost, but hear how that relates to other work that's going on and how that's influencing the work that's going on in other sectors.
And today, I'm speaking for us all when I say we're so proud and honored to be invited to talk a little bit about what we've learned in the last 5 years, in hopes that other people in this room or listening across Canada or potentially the world who are also about to embark on a collaborative conservation story of their own will maybe learn a little bit about what we've done in our first 5 years. How important relationship building is to all of this. If you don't have trust and belief in one another, and I can honestly say I have a relationship with every one of these members on the stage, and we wouldn't have gotten as far as we have been without that trust and that relationship.
It seems to be that the ability to bring forward kind of local knowledge into a regional setting, into a provincial or territorial setting, into a national level setting is something that is I've been, like I said, I've been doing this for 12 years. This is really one of the only venues that is kind of national in scope, and conservation really is necessarily local, and all of these localities need to be talking to each other, and so this network is really a great opportunity for that.
I think I mentioned earlier we have about 4 caribou ranges in the area. The majority of them are about 60% disturbed, meaning that there's some development that's taking land away from the caribou. That's an important thing to recognize. So any little bit we can get with collaboration is really useful. And particularly with companies that are undertaking to bring our monitors on board. So all of that is in the spirit of collaboration, partially through agreements, partially through phone calls, but nothing is better than developing a good relationship.
Braiding means coming together, and it's not about one knowledge taking over the other knowledge. They have to meet in a central location where everybody is equal. I think that's the best way to collaborate.
All of us were bringing different equations to it, and I was, of course, because I'm a field guy, I was bringing my field perspective of that, and it got into the model, and today we have a really good model, and so that spirit of collaboration was real and tangible because it was producing results.
But I think the most meaningful collaboration for me was on our conservation side. And that was where I had the opportunity to work with Mikisew Cree First Nations in their Indigenous-led effort to conserve the Kataskanou-Nuwene Wildland Park. And I think that was just the most impactful initiative that I've ever been on. It was critical that we had that trust and we maintained that trust, and we ended up relinquishing an oil sands lease in support of that. But our commitment to that didn't end when we relinquished that oil sands lease. That commitment carried forward to today. I still champion Indigenous-led conservation, both within my company and within our industry. I think it's really critical.
We have a tremendous amount of knowledge coming from us Indigenous people. So we bring in tons of information. We want to be equal with science, but we don't want to be absorbed by science. Science cannot be end all. There's other knowledge there that exists that's older than science, and that's our knowledge. So that's what we bring into this collaboration.
To bring caribou science, less as an academic, less as a research data exercise, and start telling the stories that are meaningful as us to humans, as emotional beings, that there's culture, there's intergenerational knowledge that's happening in species that are not us. it's not only humans that, you know, care about their families and want the best for their future generations. And you know, this is happening in nature, in our, you know, in our shared territories, and as we share them with caribou as well.
But I know what the end game is going to be, and that's the protection of boreal caribou in Canada. You know, amalgamating or integrating traditional knowledge with scientific knowledge and coming to an understanding and reaching a goal. You know, that's what I hope to see.
We're willing to share, but you have to come to us. You have to come to us and say, we want your knowledge. I see that day coming, but I don't see it immediately. Like, we're still having a hard time convincing the scientists that our knowledge is valid.
So I think too often in the past, discussions about caribou happened behind closed doors with the federal government and the provincial and territorial governments. And what's happened now since the establishment of the NBCKC is a whole variety of partners are brought to the table. So as an industry representative, we're part of the discussions, but more importantly, we're hearing from Indigenous communities across the country, and I think that's really critical. I'm hearing stories across the country, which is really important, and it helps inform my way of thinking.
One thing that I have learned, I think we've all learned, is that meaningful collaboration is way more difficult than doing things in silos, so expect that. But it's really worth it, and you get a product that everyone's going to stand behind, and when you have that, you save yourself tons of trouble in the end.
May we all be part of the solution and the action going forward to implement this amazing framework that we are celebrating today. So have a wonderful day.